Welcome everyone on today's topic on modules used in Python here. So in this one we are going to talk about a little bit more on the modules utilization in Python programs here. Now the particular topics which we are going to cover in this is math functions, random modules and packages in Python. So this is what we are going to talk about in this particular topics here. First one is the math theoretic functions over here. Now math is something which is used to provide the access to the mathematical functions here. We have already discussed that. Now import math is very important because that will help us to import this module into our Python program. Now I'm just typically running a particular print statement called math.ceil, which will return the ceiling of x as an integer here. Now I'm giving a particular value called 11.056. So what happens that if it is like above 11.5, it would have given a different value. But now it's something which is giving us 11.056. It will give the ceiling value of 12 over here. Similarly, if we want to copy the sign, if we are trying to run a particular function called copy sign, and the values which we are providing over here is 15 comma -1. So what exactly it's happening is that we are just trying to give the particular sign. We are saying that 15 is there, so which is in positive. So it will pick up the sign of the y value. X value is considered as 15 here and y as -1. So that's the reason why we will get a particular value called -15, because the sign is copied from the y here. And similarly, in case of particular fabs function here, it reserves particular positive integer, and if you are providing a particular negative value over here, so it will basically give you a positive value. These are some couple of examples which can help you different kind of mathematical tasks, and pretty much you don't have to do any kind of coding in backend for these ones. You can straight away use these and proceed with this automation. Then we have power and logarithm functions here. Now if we want to get the exponent power of e power of x, so in that case we can always say like math.exponential 5 here. So that will help you to get the value according to that. Now if you want to return e exponent x -1, so in that case you can go for the function called exmp m1, which will give you the particular value according to that. If you want to get the logarithm value of an x, then log function is used for 10. And if you want to use the particular logarithm values with a particular base, in that case you can always give like 100 and comma 10, and that will help you to get the particular, it will consider the base 10 for you and give you a particular calculation according to that. Depending on the arguments, you can see that the same log function is used in two ways, like one in which we are not talking about the base over here, and in second one we have value getting a particular value calculated for 100 depending on the base 10 here. So this is the way that how we will be able to get all the values extracted and implemented on this one. So these are some of the power functions which we can use, and we can go ahead on this one. Now some trigonometric functions also available here. So we have arc cosine. If we want to get the arc cosine of an x here, so we can give the value like 0.5, and corresponding to that the value will be calculated. Then arc sine, arc tangent, and cosine, tangent, sine, all these different functions are available there, and it will just take an argument from you, and depending on the argument the return value will be returned to you. Now this value is returned because of the fact that we are just trying to get hold of, or we want to perform these kind of calculations. Now instead of using any kind of mathematical formulas or performing any kind of calculations manually, we can actually perform these calculations using this straightforward functions here. These functions are already coded in such a way that it will do all the internal functionalities all together, and it will try to give you a final product over here in this one. So these are some couple of trigonometric functions which is also supported by math import over here. Then angular and hyperbolic functions, these are also important. So in fact, you can see the Python programming is designed in such a way that it supports all the major mathematical operations. That is the reason why in the organizations or in the research, we use more Python than any other programming language, because it's lightweight also, and it provides such a huge amount of shared libraries. Now we have a degrees, radians, pi, constantly, all these different functions which is available here. We can simply make use of these ones and get our particular values calculated. So we don't have to do anything or any kind of calculations around this one. You just give a certain input, and depending on that input you will be able to get all the outputs processed and calculated here. Then we have a random function. Now random function is basically used when you want to generate pseudo random numbers for different kind of distributions. Now we could be using it for having some kind of a unique numbers, for generating some random IDs, for any kind of web application where we require some different kind of user IDs every time. So we can use these random functions. So the first one is that random.rand range. So now this one is something which will generate the random integer within a particular given range here. So depending on the value till 100, whatever the random number or integer can be particular generated can be provided over here. So any number till 100 will be given to you. Now you can also give the range between the start, stop and step also. So you are saying that the starting point is 0 and the particular end point is 100, and the difference between two random numbers should be 20. So the step which we are going to have is 20 over here. And then random int is there, which is something, and we are trying to give the starting and the end point over here, which means that this is the end point like 30. So the random number should be between 0 and 30 here. So this is how you will be able to get all the random functions or random numbers executed, and you will be able to call upon the random module here. Now some couple of more options in the random module. So here we have random.getState, which will give you the current state, internal state of the particular generator. So that will also be provided to you. Now this will be in a form of object, and we can simply get it and print it over here. Then we can use the uniform function over here, which returns random floating point m such as, and it will be like between the x axis over here is 6 and 2 y is considered as 2. So m will be like 6 to 2, and that's what it really happens over here. Now this will give you a particular value, and it will be like, yes, the particular m value should always be something which is going on, and it's just in kind of entry which the number should be like. So between 6 is the upper point over here, and 2 is to the particular starting point. So in a reverse order, kind of a reverse order, you are just trying to generate a particular random number. So the y value 2 will always be going to be small as compared to x, and the particular value m, or which we are going to get the particular random function, should always there between the particular x and y value. So this is what we have here in this particular random module. Now where exactly we use, like I have given some couple of scenarios previously also, that at any moment of time you want to generate some random ID for unique part, that I want to use the random IDs or user ID, something like that, for different users, and you're not putting up any kind of attribute. Suppose you want to give some random number and concatenate with the name. Now this will give you a unique ID or some kind of attribute which you can utilize or you can put up for any kind of user ID here. So most of the banking sessions, whenever the session is generated, so due to the encryption, so they generate the random numbers, because nobody can predict these random numbers, and that is the reason why whatever the sessions are generated over there, that will be depending on these random numbers. So we can use it into the particular spacecraft shapeshift and those kind of particular components also there, and it will be allowed, or it will be over there, that we can use it into the some kind of real-time calculations, where in the space programs and all, where we can get some different kind of random. We can use it for the security purpose itself, that on random basis every time a new number is generated, so that can also be considered as a kind of a secret or something like that. It will basically help us to understand that how we can basically use it, and we can work on this component. It can be also used for estimating the possible environmental impact of building a dam in any place. So in different kind of calculations and different calculating modules and applications, this random function is utilized there. So this is having just a huge amount of implementations around. Now, datetime module is a very specific one, which is used to work with dates, times, whether it's a past one or it's a future one. So it's used for that particular processing. Now, there are so many functions which is available there in this module, like to get the date time for today, or to get the date time of a specific year, of a specific date in past. All those pretty much things we can do here. You can also convert these dates according to your requirement. You can extract the month, you can extract the year. All those typical things can be performed with this datetime module. At any moment of time you want to perform any kind of operation for datetime here, so this module will help you to do that. Now typically import datetime is something which we are using here. Now if I use the particular datetime module, and there we have a particular sub module called datetime, and here we can have a like today function. Now this today function is something which we can use to get the today's date. So that will be executed, and you will be able to get some output over there saying that this is the today's date here. Now you can save that output into now here, and if you want to get a date time of a particular some date into the past, so that also you can save. For example, I was giving a particular value called year 1995, month value is 3 and 12 is the particular date here. And similarly 1210 is the time which I'm trying to allocate here. So one time I have got just now for my current situation here, and a particular date time or a particular past date also I have calculated here. So both of them I have a particular saved over here, and try to understand that how exactly I'm able to get all those particular features, all those particular content here. Then typically the particular present date is something which we are using here, and we are just putting up the same now over here, not even the today. So we are just trying to put the particular now over here, the time duration on that. Then we are trying to save that particular component over here. So which means that we have a particular type of date time over here. That class will be saved and preserved over here in this one. Now present date, again, if you want to convert into a string, date time can be converted into string also. Now future date, if you want to calculate, so you are saying that present date. Now present date is something which is holding for the present date now over here. So that's what it's being provided over here. So now is the correct time. So that is where you will be able to see the value of like 4th February 2020 over there. And now I'm just trying to have like added 1095 days across to 3 years. Now I'm just trying to print that what should be the date at this moment of time when I'm just trying to add 1095 days here. So time delta is something which we are using over here. In this one, we are just trying to have like days is equal to 1095. Now this will add or prepare my custom future date over here. And when I'm trying to use that particular str statement over here, that what exactly the particular future date is going to be. So you can see here that in the future date, I'm trying to print it on as in particular 3 of 3rd Feb to 2023 here. So you can see that I have added 1095 days, which is close to 3 years, and I get a particular time also over there. Now, if I want to check the difference, again, I can do the particular subtraction on the future date and the present date here. Remember, you will not be able to do the subtraction over here like last statement on the basis of string. Right now, the present date and the future date are present in such a way that they hold the date time kind of data type there. So, but if you convert them into the str and then trying to do some subtraction, that is not going to happen. So remember, the conversion of this date time to string is only done for the particular print purpose there. If you want to do any kind of manipulation on this date times, in that case, you can use the same kind of typical data type in which you are initially having the data. So these things you have to remember before going ahead with this one. Then we have some couple of more examples over here. So datetime.max years, that particular thing will be calculated. So 999, 4 times 9 is something which is known as the max year as per the Python. Now minimum year is something which we will be returning over here as 1, and time is something which will return a particular time object, and like I said that it's something which will be generated into an object here. So that is the reason why the object is generated over here. Then time zone is something which will generate the same time zone for you, and it's in class which we are trying to use here. So these are the typical things which we can use. We can get some additional attributes over here in this one. So now if you want to perform, like I said, that we can use the date formatting also, because whenever we run the date time or now or today, those kind of typical inbuilt functions, that will give you particular date time into a standard format. But if you feel that you want to convert it and get it into a different way, for that we have a lot of particular formats or functions over here. For instance, current date is holding up the date of today, so that will show you into a particular its own date format. Now type of this one is datetime dot datetime here will be printed. Now you want to format this date here, so you can say that formatted underscore date, and in this one you're just trying to format the current date only. Now you can again fetch the now datement and run the particular str format time in the same way only, but I'm just trying to use the current variable itself holding that value. So this one is string format time. This kind of function is available there. Str if time is there, so this will take you the particular format here. Now in this one we are using a capital %a, and then the particular %b, and then the %y. So capital Y is for the year, and for month we are not printing it into like a numeric here. So we are just trying to print it on in the ways of the particular month here. So %b is there, and then %a is for the day that on which it's running. Because if you see, when I'm running the normal datetime now function, I'm not getting any kind of attribute like Tuesday, Monday, or those kind of things. The day of the week is not mentioned there. But now with the help of this formatted one, we will be able to get that particular output. But this one or this particular function will give you a string object, not the datetime object. So which means that it will be only used for the print purposes there. You will not be able to use it for the particular datetime manipulations. So in the bottom one, you will be able to see the particular output corresponding to the same one like you have executed. Now we have a JSON module in which you can use it for the processing and doing some particular web development when we work with web development or websites over here in Python. So at that moment of time, we have to do a lot of manipulations on JSON files. JSON is a mechanism in which it's called known as JavaScript object-oriented notation. It holds some certain kind of data in it, and we have a typical format of JSON that helps us to do that how the data should be represented, how it should be formatted, and how it should be received over here. So in the web page, when we capture the data in form, so encode this particular JSON model will pick that one and convert it, transform it into the JSON format. Now JSON format is something which is a very generic model kind of, and typical any application can easily read it. So earlier we used to have like CSV files and those kind of standard formats of files for data sharing between applications. But nowadays we are using these kind of modern processes like JSON, YAMLs and all to have that particular representation. Now the receiver end will particularly receive the JSON format. Pretty much it will be able to format it and it will be able to process each and every item from that JSON one. So this JSON content will be moved from one application to another. So if we are trying to put some particular inputs, that will convert it into the JSON and maybe hand it over to some other particular application over there. So it's in standard format. So it's in standard implementation which you will see in most of the web development applications or websites. So that is the reason why we are using this JSON module, so that we can do the manipulations for these JSON formats and we can do certain manipulations over here. Now let's talk about some particular examples over here. Now in this case, you can see that we are putting up some data, and in the data one, we are putting the JSON content pretty much in the same way. Consider this JSON format is also in form of dictionary. So you can see that a key pair value is there. Now I'm just trying to get the particular type over here. So you can say that it's showing as dictionary. Now JSON underscore string is equal to JSON.dumps. That is what we are trying to do. We are trying to convert into a JSON object using the dumps one. Now when you do this, so the data is the one which is holding the dictionary content. Now if you try to print this particular JSON string, so that will be printed in the format of JSON. So that will be printed there. When you try to print the type, so that will be printed as a string, because this JSON.jumps file will create it like a string, so that you can save this string into a particular file or do some kind of operations like that. And again, using the loads function, we can actually load this string. We can load this particular JSON string there, and then we will convert it back in case of the dictionary here. So which means that whenever you do the implementation or whenever you create a particular JSON string, you convert this dictionary to string, and whenever you use the load function, this string will be converted back to the dictionary, because dictionary will be very easy for Python to do the processing rather than processing some string here. Now, what exactly a package in Python? Package is a collection of different Python modules here. Now, Python packages allows you to break down large system and organize these modules in a system base. So you can have the particular some components or some modules all together installed into a particular package. So which means that if you import this complete package, all these particular modules which is present in this package will be also imported. Now it's a way in which these modules are organized so that you don't have to do a huge management of these modules, because there are so many modules which is available there. So if you want to do an easy management of these modules, package is something which you can use and you can make benefits out of that. So let's see some real examples over here on these standard libraries in the particular Jupyter, and let's get hold on the different practical aspects. Now we are going to run some particular demos here to completely understand that how the shared libraries really works here. Now first one, we are going to talk about the program in which we are going to get all the functions which is there present in the math import here. Now you can run the command called import math, that will import the particular module here, and then whatever the different particular possible variables and functions we have, all that will be listed on with the dir function here. Now in second one, we are just trying to import, and the same thing we are going to print it one by one instead of printing it into a particular list. If you want to print it one on one, so I have used a simple for loop which will pick up each of these items over here, and as you can see that it's printing up in a new line here. Also the same particular list content is also displayed in the bottom one, as when we use the dir function to get that particular variables and functions. Now if I want to calculate the square root, Now in this one, I'm not importing both the complete math class because I don't require that. I want to make my program lightweight. So that is the reason why I only imported the square root here. So I'm just saying that from math, which is a particular master module, from there, I'm just trying to import sqrt over here. So I'm just doing an square root on a particular value called x called 25. So that will give me a value called 5. So similarly, if you want to do any kind of square root over here, so again, the example 4 is over here providing the same thing only. But typically, instead of using the particular square root over here, I'm using a particular SQ over here. So you can also rename the one which you are trying to import, the particular function or anything like that you're trying to import from the Python. You can give some meaningful name and you can refer into your code here. So this will definitely give you a square root of 36, which will be the value called 6 here. Similarly, if you want to check the particular, perform some log calculations over here or some kind of mathematical manipulations here, I'm using a import star here, which will be importing all the particular attributes and functions here. Now in this case, I'm using the log 10 and factorial on the value called 10 here. So according to that, log 10 of 10 will be 1 here, and then factorial of 10 will be shown as this particular value. So corresponding to that, the mathematical operations will be done here and you will be able to get some desired output over here in this one. When we talk about this module, so we have some particular inbuilt variables and functions which we can use. For instance, here we use the sys.arg, which will give us that what are the different arguments we are going to provide to a particular Python script here. Second, when we do sys.exit, what will have the system exit will be done there. It will try to exit your source code over here in this one. This is something which we are trying to do particular forcefully exit over here. We are just trying to terminate the program execution over here. Then some more examples around this is, so if we are having the print statement, so we are saying that nonce, which means that we have not done any kind of import, which is correct. So the value is false here. All the flags which is being loaded by this module here, that will also be printed here. So you will see all those modules attributes printed over here in this one, and prefix where you are trying to run this particular files, Python files and all. So that also will be picked up over here in this particular prefix command. So you can see that output is there like opt conda. So that is the particular output you're getting over here in this one. Now in this next command, we are using a particular attribute called sys.path. Now this is something which is being used over here and will try to pick the particular path over here, like whatever the locations where you have added, or these are the locations where the pythons are basically used here or deployed here. It's basically trying to search for a particular python, and that is how you will be able to see all these different locations where some python files or somehow some folder structure is present here, and you're just trying to print it one by one over here with the help of a simple for loop. Now if you want to append a particular x over here, as you can see that over here we are trying to append a particular sys.path as an x, a new value here. So right now we have all these typical values which is stored on as in particular sys.path here. But if you want to append somewhere, you want to append like an x or any kind of other path there, you can also do it with the help of append function over here. So sys.path.append will help you to add the x. Now in this case, I'm just using the x here, but you can actually use some different path or some custom path also with this one here. So this is how you will be able to have the executions, and you will be able to know that how the overall execution really works. Now next we have OS module. Now OS module, we know we use it for the specification requirement where we interact with the particular file system. Now get current working directory, cwd function will give you the current working directory, that what you will get here. If you want to change the directory, that also you can do with the help of chdir. Now if you try to do some kind of particular tasks where you don't get any kind of return value, so there only the none value will be printed. So for this chdar, you will be able to see none value only listed on over there. And then when you do the get current working directory again, you will be able to see the home directory over there in this one, because you change the directory to home here. So this is how you will be able to move from one directory to another, and you can get that same attribute calculated over there. Now similarly, the particular OS name, environment, get parent ID, all those things we will be getting over here in this one. Now this environment os.environ is something which will give you a key pair values of environment variables and the actual values here. Whatever the paths or the different environment variables configured into your environment, that will be simply picked up and will be given to you. So you will also be able to see the operating system there. So that will be also printed on that one. And the last one will be the particular module with which you have logged in or which you have the particular process ID here. So here we are just trying to use an os.path here, which is again a kind of a particular one. So here I can use like if I want to join the new directory over here, so I can join the os.path over here as a new directory. I can add to that one. And if you want to get the particular absolute path, so this is what we will get, the absolute path here. So we will give the some relative path over here, and corresponding to that the absolute path will be calculated. Now if I want to convert this to a normal path, it's already there present as a normal path, but will take some argument like a non-standard format, and that will be simply converted back in the particular format here, normal format here. And if you want to do the split, now the particular file name and the folders will be split up all together. So you can see that the home path is splitted as altogether differently, and this new directory is separately extracted over here, and it will be returned as a particular tuple here. Then if the particular directory really exists, so in that case it will tell us that whether the directory exists or not. In this case it does not exist, so it shows you a particular output called false here. And if you want to see that if a particular directory is present, so again it's not in particular directory, so that is the reason why you're getting a particular false here. So this one will check if the particular directory exists or not, and this one is explaining and checking that if a particular file or whatever folder name you provide is a directory or not. Could be a possibility it exists, there is highly chances there, but it could be into form of file or any other thing there. So if it is a directory, then only it will be true value. And then the walk one will help you to give all the files and folders structures available there, and a particular walk object will be given back to you. So it will be like having all the files folders present in the given path, and it will traverse for the subfolders also. And some couple of mathematical operations where we are getting the ceiling value, copy sign, and the particular f apps, which will convert the negative to the positive here. Copy sign will copy the sign value from the y parameter, and the ceiling value will calculate the ceiling value for a particular float value. Then we have the power and logarithmic functions also here. So you can see that e exponent 5 is what we are trying to explain or get over here. Then e exponent x minus 1 is what we are trying to get next. And then log 10, log 100 comma 10. So that will help you to get the different kind of execution. Now in this case we are trying to use the math particular module, and we are trying to get the logarithm of a particular value x to the base 10. That is what it's getting here. And in this one we don't have an x value over here, we have like 100. So we are just trying to get the particular base value 10 of this 100 here, and that's how we got a particular value called 2. Then trigonometric functions, we can have a arc cosine of 0.5, we can have arc sine of 0.5, we can have arc tangent of particular 5, and then cosine. You can have other like sine, tan, all those are available there. You can pretty much use them and you can proceed with that. You can also go for angular and hyperbolic functions. Those are also available here. So if you want to get for a degree, it's like 0.1. So you can do that. So it will help you to calculate that one. And radians, if you want to get the radians from a particular x value, you're giving a value called 6.734, and corresponding to that the radian value will be calculated. The pi value, if you want to calculate the value of pi, so that is also given, and constant e, that is also given here. So constant is 2.7 and pi value is 3.14 approximately. So this is how you will be able to get particular different mathematical operations executed there, and you don't have to do any kind of calculations. Now random module is something which we use frequently in the application, so that we will be able to generate some random phone number here. Now in this case we are using the import random, which is being used by us, and we are just trying to get a particular random number till the particular range number 100. So the values will be given within this particular range here. If you feel that you want to have a particular range between the starting point or end point, so that also we can do. So here 0 is the starting point and 100 is the end point here. And step is something which we are using in order to understand that how much steps we need to have, or what should be the difference between the two different values here. So that is where we are trying to give 20 value over here in this one, and you can see that we are getting the values like 60 over here, because that's a number between 0 and 100. If I run it again, you will be able to see a different values generated all together in this one. So every time whenever you run, you will be able to see different values created because it's a random run. And in the last one, if you want to get an integer generated between the 0 and 30 over here, So that also you will get over here in this one. So all you're trying to do is that you're just trying to execute different particular random functions, and it ultimately gives you a different value each time you execute it. Now, if you want to get the state of your random particular generator, so you can always do that. That will be a particular random generator function, which will be object, which will be returned to you. Now, if you want to get an uniform value between the particular 6 and 2, you want to have a floating value, because in the previous one, we were just trying to have a integer value. Now, if you want to get a float value between a particular number like 6 and 2, so that will be done here. Now 2 will always be less than 6, so the value of particular m, which is or the number which we are trying to fetch here, should always be having the value greater than a over here. And this value n will be always present between 6 and 2 here. Next we have datetime modules. Now this datetime modules is used to do the processing over here on the basis of datetime. Now in this one we are trying to get the today's date here using the datetime.today, and then we are trying to get a particular old date, but in there we have providing the particular year, the date, the month, and the date 12 and the time duration here. So you will be able to see these two dates printed on over here like in this format, and this is the first date which you're getting right now, and this is the older date which you're doing right now here. If you print their type, so that will be coming up in the date time here. Now what I'm trying to do is that I'm just trying to add 1095 days to your current date, to your present date, and with that we are using a function called time delta. Now here we are saying that days is equal to 1095. We can add like year is equal to 3 also, but if we want to go for a precise one, so we are just trying to add the number of days. If you want to have the years added, you can always do that also. Now once the 1095 days is added over here, you will get a future date over here like this, and this future date you will be printing over here like this. You will be able to see a date called 2023 04 month and 15 date over here, and this is how you will be able to get a future date listed on over here. And if at any moment of time you want to check the difference between the future date and the present date, again you can do a subtraction over here. You can do a mathematical operation and you will be able to get the difference. Now since these values are returned as in a particular date time, that is the reason why you will be able to do the operations. But as you can see here that if you convert them using the str function, then further you will not be able to do any kind of manipulations on them. So if you want to do the manipulation properly, you always have to use them in the same object format. Then maximum year, minimum year, time, time zone, these are the same attributes which we are getting over here in this one. Time and time zone will give you a particular corresponding object, but max year and minimum year will give you a particular value of that particular generator. And last one is typically here for the formatting over here. In this one, we are basically taking up the today's date here. Then we are just trying to format it in such a way. Now this formatting will help you to get the value in a string one. So definitely on this one, you will not be able to do any kind of manipulation, but you will be able to use it for the display part or for having the formatting here. So capital %y will help you to particularly get the year here. Percentage V will give you the month in the format of string, and the particular capital A, %A will help you to give with the particular day of the week here. Now if you run the datetime.now, you are not getting the week value, but that is something you will be able to format with the help of this particular strf time function over here. And here comes the JSON ones. Now JSON, we know that it's used to put or display some content into a particular format, and it's a pretty generic format which is used by most of the applications. Now Python is having the capability to convert the dictionaries to the JSON format, JSON string, and the same JSON string can be transferred or can be loaded back as a dictionary here. So we have a dictionary called data over here in this one. We are just trying to check the type here. So that is coming as dictionary. Next, I'm trying to use the dumps function over here that will convert this JSON or this dictionary object to a string here. Now this string I can pass on, or I can do whatever operations I want, I can perform there. But at any moment of time, if you want to decode it and again process it, so I will be using the loads function, and this load function will take the JSON string. Once that is loaded into the original, so when you do the type on this original, you will be able to see it as a dictionary object here. So this really helps you to understand that how you can go for this particular object from the string to the dictionaries, and how we will be able to get that particular attribute executed. So this definitely helps you to say that how we can convert a particular dictionary object to a particular string for the processing, and once the particular decoding needs to be done back, you will be converting this string into the particular dictionary object again here. So this is how the whole particular execution of this particular demos is done here. So that's it for this execution. I hope you liked it. Thanks.